we're go.
We're live again?
We're live again.
We're live again. Episode 3.
Episode 3
of the Dadcast.
Of the Dadcast. This is the Divine Realignment Podcast. Hello, everyone. My name is Julia Wesley. I'm a professional medium and channel for my guides, and we like to talk about people's life purposes just because that's what I like. Today, I have my dad with me, Mark, and we're just going to talk about stuff.
In from Northville, Michigan.
In from Northville, Michigan.
The big trip down. So, okay. Hello, everyone. Obviously, the virus in the world right now.
Right.
COVID-19 going on. So, I mean, does it relate at all into what you do for your readings and all that? Does this subject pop up? Is it a concern? I mean, is there any link between the other side and what's happening currently?
Well, it doesn't pop up in my readings normally, just because it just doesn't. When I give someone a reading, I'm normally focusing on what is your highest potential in this moment and how can I align you with it.
Okay.
Personally, though, I did use this timeline, the COVID-19 timeline, to sort of catapult me onto my highest potential timeline at the moment. So, does it have a spiritual significance? I suppose so.
Yeah, I felt it was a bit of a reach of a question, but pertinent to what's happening out in today's world. So,
yeah.
Again, a learning curve for me. I'm bringing myself up to speed. So you want to talk about what you did today? I feel it's fresh.
You mean a reading I gave today? Well, here's the thing.
You can't say specifics, no.
Yeah, no. Well, you can't, because that's good. This is a good point about ethics.
Okay.
If you're going to be a professional medium.
It's like a lesson now.
Yeah, you've done it now. You've done it. If you're going to be a professional medium.
Okay, all right. Let's go through the boilerplate stuff.
Come on. If you're going to be a professional energy Reiki practitioner, medium, channel, whatever. I mean, I guess if it's a little bit different if you're channeling someone to a crowd. Anyways, if you're going to be a professional psychic, medium, whatever, tarot reader, it's standard practice to not talk about the reading in public. Consider it like privileged information.
Look at us in tandem.
Yeah. Exactly. So, basically, you need a subpoena.
What about spiritual subpoena? What about just not the specifics, but the process of it?
So
what
how
it
do
is
I
specifically? Yeah.
Okay, that's a good one. So it's very.
We'll skirt it a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's individual, right? So for me, I like to keep it simple. If I make it too complicated, I hype myself up. What I like to do is I like to meditate before the reading, and I will take that time to sort of attune myself to any guides that my sitter has around them, because I don't read the energy of my sitter. I read the energy.
What's a sitter? What do you mean by that?
The person getting the reading.
Oh, gotcha.
So if I'm giving you a reading, you'd be my sitter.
Okay.
And I'm the reader.
Gotcha.
And
I should have put that together, but I didn't.
Yeah,
okay.
Air conditioning's on.
Oh. That's okay.
We're doing this at
that's
home,
the air
folks.
conditioning, folks. It's okay. Yeah, the Nashville office has air conditioning. That's a
Nashville
loud,
office.
That's
That's what it is.
The studios.
So you're giving someone a reading, and instead of reading the sitter like a psychic, this is the difference between mediumship and being like a straight psychic. If I was a psychic, I would read your energy, and I would just pick up on anything in your energy. But if I'm a medium, what I'm doing is I'm sort of reading the energy around you. Who is in your field, who is in my field, who's coming to me, that kind of a thing, and what are we talking about? And so I meditate on that a little bit with the intention of, okay, what are Jane and I going to talk about today?
Gotcha.
And then when I do get into the reading, what I do is you can either do it by phone or by Zoom or something. Obviously, you can't do it in person at this time, and I'm not sure I would to begin with. I like doing it by phone. I prefer it because I can't see the person. I can only hear them, and it makes it easier because I'm not trying to gauge their reaction to the information that's coming through.
Okay.
It's just like I'm just saying.
Yeah, you're just trying to keep it pure.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever's coming, you're relying.
And I don't really need anything besides their name, so that I know who I'm connecting to.
So, I find that amazing that you could fine-tune it that quickly to someone, or anyone that has the developed skill set that you have, that they can just sort of tune in, right? That
Yeah.
quickly, right? Move the antenna to where it's just where it needs to be, and
Yeah.
you know, it's not a lot of dodgy reception. Boom, there it is. I get that
Yeah.
it's it's the guides, it's their troop
Well, that's
coming to you a lot
the
of
secret
times.
sauce.
Okay.
So it's easier when you tune into your guides instead of trying to tune into the sitter, the person you're trying to read,
Okay.
because then you don't have to attune yourself to anyone.
Ah, gotcha. So
So-
they're doing the heavy lifting
Exactly.
out
Yeah.
of the gate,
So,
then,
and I'm
okay.
not. I don't have to continuously like clear my energy. Not that it's a bad practice, but when you tune into your guides, you're already attuned to them.
Okay.
So and guides have an easier time
So
talking to each
you're
other.
priming the pump there, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly. And so guides are easier to tune into because their vibration is higher than a human. Anyways,
Okay.
you kind of have to lower your vibration a little bit to do that. And so when you're tuning into your guides are talking to their guides. So it really is sort of like a cosmic game of telephone. But if you do your job and you don't put any color commentary into it, as I like to say, like my job is just to tell you what your guides are saying, no matter what they're saying.
Right.
And if I'm not doing that, I'm not doing my job. So there is no color commentary necessary. I don't need to worry about what's coming through because I know that when I connect with your guides, it's for your greatest and highest good. No scary stuff's going to come through that way. That's
Okay.
not the point of it.
Gotcha.
You know?
So you say energy a lot, and I've read this, and I've probably seen a few things here or there on YouTube about it, but you know, someone's energy pattern, their flavor of energy, does it have a certain color? A certain,
can.
and does it signify something? If you're
Yes.
white or green or orange or whatever it is.
Yeah. So if you're someone who is really more of like an energy worker, like if you work with energy, like or a healer or something, when you tune into someone's energy, you may see like in your mind's eye colors.
Oh.
So that happens to me sometimes if I were to like read your energy and ask my guides, okay, I'm going to read your energy. And I might see purple or I
Okay.
might see green.
Okay.
And so for me that can either
Is there
mean,
like a bad color that you probably don't want?
I don't know about a bad color. And maybe you may have a color that's not healthy.
Okay.
You know, you might have like yellow for your solar plexus chakra. It may be kind of muddy. You're like, okay, well, there's some energy that needs to be, it's stagnant. We need to move it around a little bit, you know. So a lot of the times I don't necessarily understand, like just the way that I work and my mind works, I don't necessarily, it's going to sound bad, I don't care about what it looks like or what it means. I tend to think about things in what's the thought pattern that's creating that energy. How are you creating this situation? And then I deal with it from the perspective of, well, your solar plexus chakra is a little muddy. You're dealing with a confidence issue. I think what you need to do is, it's related to an issue in your throat chakra or your heart chakra. You're not speaking your heart. You don't feel safe enough or confident enough to do it. And it's like I address it that way. A lot of other people, though, when they see colors, they're like, okay, I'm going to add this other color to it. I'm going to add some positive energy to it, which is possible. Reiki works where you just sort of act as a channel for sort of like pure source energy, and that
Okay.
fixes that.
So you mentioned a lot of things that I don't know what the hell you're talking
Oh,
about.
good.
Yeah. So Reiki.
Reiki.
What is that?
So
That's what you do out in the yard during fall. You go
but no.
Yeah, bad joke. I know.
No. So to make it, I'm not Reiki attuned, but to make it very simplistic, what you would do is you as someone who's getting Reiki would kind of just lay down on a table, and the Reiki practitioner would sort of hold their hands over your body, and they would sort of feel your energy centers, your chakras,
Okay.
and they would say, okay, well, I'm just going to hold space for this energy center to absorb more source energy. I've actually had Reiki done on me by a friend, and when she's like a Reiki master attuned, and it was, before she did it, I had someone who was probably like a level 1, and I wasn't impressed, and I'm like, I barely felt anything. When she did it, I was like sweating.
Now, I mean, do you think that's because you're a little more aware? I mean, you've got this in tune. You're in tune more than because I honestly don't think, I could be wrong.
Yeah.
It would be like nothing for me. I'd be like, well, it was a nice lay down on the table, but I didn't, I got nothing out of it in the immediate. Maybe later on, maybe, hey, my knee doesn't hurt as much as it used to, 2 days later, but.
Well, it's a combination. It could be a combination of things. Mm-hmm. One, your Reiki practitioner is not very good at being a clear channel.
Okay.
Channeling Reiki, or it could be that you just didn't need the bombastic experience to have it.
Word,
yeah.
Nice.
You didn't need.
Right in.
Yeah, you didn't need to be pouring sweat on your way out the door. Maybe it's something that is just going to be sort of like gradually working on you.
Yeah, that sounds gross too. Pouring sweat.
Yeah,
I get what you're saying though. You're working.
Yeah, that's what happens. You get the poison energy. Out.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of what I thought it was, but not 100%. So, how do you learn that? I mean, where do you develop that from?
I'm really not like a Reiki expert. What I know about it, and I'm sure people will get angry at me for getting it wrong.
Yeah, well, that's part of it.
There was a guy in Japan quite a while ago who got Reiki attuned.
Nice. Yeah.
And he was standing under a waterfall, and somehow that triggered a Reiki attunement. And you have to be attuned by other Reiki practitioners in order to understand how to hold.
Right, so you have to be trained by someone that's it's already so a ninja
like
has
an
to
initiation
train a ninja
kind of a thing. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, all right. Well, that makes sense. Now the chakra things here.
Yes.
There seems like there's a lot of them.
You got at least 7 major ones.
7 major ones. There's more than 7.
There's more than 7.
How many total? Do you know?
So many. Like you have major energy centers and you have minor ones on you. Like you have minor chakras in your hands, your nose, your ears are connected.
So what are the big ones?
So you've got your root chakra, your sacral chakra.
Where's that at? Where's my root chakra?
It is at your perineum, kind of like your tailbone area ish. And then your sacral chakra would be sort of like your reproductive organ area.
Okay.
And then your solar plexus would be kind of like right in the middle of your kind of diaphragm kind of area. Then your heart chakra is in your heart center.
Okay.
Throat chakra is throat chakra. Third eye is, or your brow chakra. It's that space right kind of like in the middle, a little above your eyes.
Gotcha.
And then your crown chakra is the top of your head.
I mean, does one have more importance than the other? They're supposed to work in harmony, I'm guessing?
They all work. So if one is out of balance, your entire chakra system is going to be out of balance. And it's very common for everyone's chakras to be at least a little out of whack. Mm-hmm. When you get into the spiritual woo-woo stuff, you place a lot of focus on your third eye and your crown chakra.
Okay.
And it's important to remember that you can't really build strength in your upper chakras without having a really great base. It's kind of like a pyramid. So you have to, the stronger you are in your foundation, the higher up you can go.
Right.
So
now, is that a Reiki person that would assess that, or is that in your?
I could read your chakras.
You could do that. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I bet
you can read your own chakras.
Yeah, mine's a disaster. I bet.
Well, probably. It's probably not that bad.
Probably.
No. It's probably not that bad.
Okay. I mean, I feel like I'm mostly on track, but what the hell do I know?
For me, the way I relate to energy centers is it's like, well, what issue are you working on in your root chakra that would make it unbalanced? Are you dealing with a survival issue, a sense of safety? Do you, for some reason, can never have enough food in your fridge? Do you not make enough money? The root chakra is really about sort of safety and survival. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of survival when it's out of balance. You're really worried about survival when it's out of balance.
Would that be kind of a weak chakra? I mean, because, talk about first world problems here in America. I mean, there's not a whole lot of survival functions going on,
Yeah,
we all got mostly food and running water.
It's kind of relative in a way. It's what you perceive to be as safe.
Okay.
So you could be someone who's like a billionaire and still have a really crummy root chakra because you're dealing with issues of lack. Mm-hmm. Someone who just has to hoard money because they think that they can never have enough of it would have a really bad, unbalanced root chakra.
Okay, so, I mean, I watch a TV program where people have a habit of collecting far too much in their
hoarders,
home. Yeah. There you go. Yeah, I was trying not to say the actual name.
Is that allowed? I don't know if that's allowed.
I don't know. I don't think they're going to mind.
All right, block that
if
out.
they do,
We didn't say anything.
Yeah. So that would be an example of a person that's way out of whack with that particular.
Yes, that's a good example.
Off the
of that.
charts, broken.
That also has a lot to do with probably their solar plexus. They identify a lot with their stuff. You know, and they have a hard time letting go of that.
So during that program, I see a transformation in people, that doesn't occur, as far as I can tell, on a spiritual level or a chakra type level.
Yeah.
Just their own actions sort of help purge that. I guess that imbalance, and they figure out, how to get themselves back on track again. Maybe not completely or permanently, but at least for for the time being. So, yeah.
That I think is how I kind of, if I wasn't going to do this, I was going to be a psychologist. Okay. And I really like to deal with energy issues like that, where it's like, what is your thought pattern? What is the energy cycle that you're in that keeps creating this problem? That, to me, is like the basis of any energy imbalance you have. You create energy imbalances. Our natural state is to be in balance, so you have to create the environment that would make you unbalanced.
So, I can sense or feel when I'm sort of in balance, right? Like I've got my shit together, things are going kind of the way I think they should be, and then I get on a roll, and I'm amazed sometimes at how quickly I can be knocked off of that balance. And it doesn't take a whole lot to knock me off, and sometimes it doesn't take much to knock me back in line again, or I kick myself back into play. So is there outside factors that can affect that balance that you haven't necessarily done or thought about? I mean, is there like star alignments or other people that come into your orbit that sort of influence you and knock you out of balance?
Well,
unintentionally or maybe intentionally.
You do come across opportunities to deal with issues that you've sort of been pushing away. Life will present you with those opportunities. They might highlight an issue in a chakra that you have been ignoring. But I wouldn't say that there are outside influences that can create an imbalance for you. Do you have an example?
No, I wish I did. I mean, maybe just a bad business partner that you're trying to work things out with. That, you sort of got... You've got your game plan lined up, and they come in with just some crazy, out of the blue scenarios, and just bring a bunch of bad vibe to the meeting, and now it's almost like they've soured the room, just not only with their wacko thought pattern, but just the energy that they bring. And I sense, maybe it's me and no one else, that it sort of just sours the mood of the room. The air is almost different inside of it.
It could be indicative of an imbalance within them. It doesn't necessarily have to be a reflection of you. The things that you do experience are teachers in a way. You sort of manifest situations around you that reflect an issue that you're dealing with. But I wouldn't necessarily say it's a manifestation of a chakra issue. Now, I guess it would depend on the situation. The one that you've described to me sounds more or less like your business partner has a hard time being honest about what they want.
I want to blame them.
Yeah.
It's not me, it's you. Nice. So, I'm going to pivot this back to meditating. And you may remember this or not, but I listened to a fella on YouTube again. That's right, folks. I spend a lot of time on YouTube in the evening. John Butler is his name, and there are videos of John when he was a younger man, but most of the ones you see right now are the late in life John Butler, and he's I can't even tell you if the guy's Catholic or, he's certainly a very spiritual man, Christian, to keep it broad.
Oh, I think you told me about this.
Yeah, and just very thoughtful, a lot of good guidance, and I think it comes from a good place. Not that he's trying to sneak religion into your head or anything. He's just
Right.
relaying his experiences and what he's learned and his journey, and a lot of it reminds me of what you do. It's again, to repeat myself, it's a journey. It's something that you're growing along with it and learning as you go on down the path. And what they'll do in these little videos is they'll ask John a question or two. They're usually pretty good questions, pretty provocative questions, and one of them was meditating. And he described how he can meditate and literally just burn through 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah.
And open his eyes up and not really realize that he was there that long meditating. So he sounds like he's really good at it, But his advice was, for a beginner, your first time meditating, your first week, whatever it is, that sit yourself in a chair, and it's very important to have your feet. If you can, it'd be great if you're on solid ground, right on Mother Earth.
Yeah.
If not, just make sure they're on the floor at the very least, so you can make that connection. And I want to say he calls it a root connection with the earth. Grounding. There you go. There's the term I'm looking for. To really start the process and have that sort of be like a starting point. That's the starting line, so to speak. And then he goes into detail for the way he meditates and goes on like that. But I mean, does that sound like good advice? I mean, look, full disclosure, I don't meditate. Never had. Well, I did a couple times, right? And I fell asleep doing it, which I thought was a failure, but it was a great nap. So he recommends doing that to sort of help quiet the mind. Yeah. He almost makes it sound like it's a free assist from the planet to sort of push you in the direction you're trying to go.
Yes. I really like pure presence meditation. It's where you sort of really sink into the now moment. That is when I have been able to lose track of time. Like 40 minutes feels like 15 kind of a thing. It's awesome. But grounding is, I would say, a really useful tool, especially if you're someone who's always up in your head, your upper energy centers, because it reminds you that you have a body and that you're in it right now. And it's probably not the best way to put that, but you know what I mean. Like you are using physical form right now, and to be in touch with it means connecting with the whole of you. You know what I mean? And so that's a really great way to just reconnect to the now moment, is by feeling your body and by grounding. And grounding is just a good way to feel that support of
So if you meditate and you're a beginner, or you're pretty good at it, that's going to have an influence on your chakras. Yes. Yeah. Okay. All right. So a story you've probably never heard of before. Way back when, right, 100 years ago, I was in karate, the YMCA. I'd walk from the house up to the YMCA. Ago. Yeah. Well, it feels like. And we would start each lesson. You'd stretch, you do all the crazy stretches to make sure you don't hurt something, even though you end up hurting yourself anyway, And we would, I don't believe that it was called meditating. The term fails me right now, but basically you're on the floor, pretzel legs and, back very stiff, and the instructor would go through getting in touch with parts of your body. And for him, he wanted you to be in tune with your body, because you had to do some weird things with it you're not used to doing, right? Right. You're going to put your heel above your head and, things that aren't natural, right? And he wanted you to have a feel for where your body started, where it stopped. Yep. So you didn't accidentally kick someone in the nose. All of this mattered, but didn't make a lot of sense when, 12-year-old Mark was, trying to earn his green belt. Sure. But he would start at the very top of your head, and then work his way all the way down to your toes. And as we started, out of the gate, was pretty rudimentary. I mean, it was like from your head down to your shoulders, to your knees and feet. I mean, it went by quickly. Sure, yeah. But as we kept going, it was like a scan. Yes. From the top of your head. That's what it's called. Yeah. Oh, was it really? It's called a body scan. A body scan. Okay. Yeah. Well, that's what he was doing, right? And it would go all the way down. I mean, sometimes it was, it sounded a little silly, you'd think of your eyebrows, and,
Yes.
just,
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, dude, let's
You
get
were
past
meditating.
that. Yeah, so maybe I got a little background on this and don't even
You
know.
do? Yeah.
Granted, it's 40 years old, but
It's timeless. It's a body scan. That's a really great way to start meditating. Really.
well, yeah, and he really pushed thinking of, I'll just say your chin, okay, and concentrate on your chin,
Yes.
just your chin,
Yes.
and then he'd kind of like leave you alone for 20 seconds. Now it's the whole class,
Yep.
right? So we're all doing this at the same time, and I've got to admit that. Playing with the nunchucks and, trying to break a board and, all that stuff. A lot of fun.
Yeah.
But doing that ended up probably being as enjoyable, if not more, than the actual class itself. And we got so good at it, I think, as a group, that, the hour-long class would end up being like an hour and 15, 20 minutes long because he let us meditate for such a long time. I'm going to call it that now because
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That we would just, the class just kept growing in length,
Yes.
as time went on because we got pretty good at it. And thinking back, I want to say that probably our skill improved pretty quick.
Yeah.
Because you did feel in tune with it and sort of centered, I guess would be the best way I could put it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, maybe I've got a little background on this.
Yeah.
So I'm just digging up bones here and remembering.
That's a really common technique body scan.
Okay.
And karate is from Japan.
Karate.
Karate.
This was Korean.
Korean.
But
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, they have a very strong Buddhist, Confucian, and Shinto influence,
okay.
But they are like the backbone of that stuff is really meditation. Hinduism, of course, as well. But yeah, they have got it figured out for centuries. We're the stupid white people over here who are just fine. Like, have you heard about meditation?
Yeah, we seem to be playing catch up
and
on
so
all those things.
It body scan. That's why they're. It's so entrenched in their martial arts because for them that's another form of meditation. It's like a movement meditation. That's why you'll see Shaolin monks who are like master.
Yeah, so we sort of
staff.
did some of that, right? So you see them doing almost looks like Tai Chi. They're kind of doing those movements,
Yeah.
Ours were called forms. There were just set patterns of movements that you had to follow.
Uh-huh.
And one form they weren't long. I mean, it might take you 3 or 4 minutes to get through a difficult one, but within that presentation, there were quite a few times where you had to be, I don't want to say soft or gentle, but softer and gentle versus a very powerful kick or powerful punch.
Uh-huh.
And then maybe the next thing might be something a little bit different that followed that.
Yeah.
So yeah, interesting. So to blend this together, what I've done in my professional life, and maybe I do some of this unknowingly. When I'm done with, whenever I'm done with a customer, well, let me back up.
Okay.
Right? So before I go in to meet with a customer, a meeting, I can just call it that.
Okay.
I'll sort of play out in my head what I feel is important to discuss, how I might say it, how that interaction might go. So I'm kind of playing pretend in my head a little bit.
It sounds like you're doing that thing professional sports players do, where they're like, "I'm gonna shoot the basket."
Yeah, you're right, right? And I'm not going to say I did it before them, but I did it long before I heard of it. I'm sure they did it long before me. And then of course, you have the meeting, and then after the meeting, I always made a habit or a sales call. Not every single time, but as often as I could remember and time would allow, to sit quietly with my own thoughts and review what had just happened.
Yeah.
And try to learn from that moment, and because sometimes you're speaking with people, and it's like you're at a time warp. You don't know what the hell you're saying.
Yeah.
You wanted to say these 5 things, you didn't say any of those 5 things, but you said 3 other things that you didn't even think were going to come out of your mouth. So you've really got to take that time to center yourself.
Yeah.
And learn from those actions that just took place in there. So the next time you go to do it, you're a little bit more polished. Doesn't work every time, but I think if you develop that discipline, that centering effect.
Yeah, that's actually one of the not most touted benefits of meditation, but it's common to hear in yoga. If you bring everything to the mat, and then you work on a principle like, say, compassion, or you work on being patient with yourself, and the more that you sort of meditate and act on it in a like controlled environment, like you're more likely to do it when you're out in the wild.
Okay.
So that sounds like that's what that is. You're saying, like, I'm going to practice this beforehand, and then I'm going to regroup with myself afterwards, and then eventually, with all this repetition, this practice, this intention, I'm going to go out next time, and I'm going to be able to apply these things better. That's a real benefit of meditation, honestly.
Yeah, I think so. And I guess I'm trying to relate a lot of the things that we're talking about to everyday functions.
Yeah.
Right? And I'll use my Catholic background, my Catholic upbringing. And I'll be honest, right? I mean, I'm not a practicing Catholic now. I don't know if I ever will be again. I have a desire to pursue that in some degree. I'm still sorting it out in my head. But even when I was really going, it was sort of like, church on Sunday, time to be Catholic. Right, so it look out, man, from 8 to 9 o'clock. I'm gonna pray it up, and we're really gonna, I'm gonna just knock it out of the park here, and then when I'm done with that, I'm still Catholic, but nowhere near as much as I was.
Exactly, yeah.
When I was going, and that's me, right? That's the way I did it. That's not everyone.
It's the Chester Catholic thing.
Kind of, yeah. Although it wasn't that bad by any stretch of imagination, but it wasn't integrated into my life to the point that I felt it was beneficial. You said the magic
word. I love integration.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah.
So what I'm getting at here is I think it's important to have spirituality integrated into your life as much as you can work it in so it's just like a natural thing. So it's not a chore to do that, right? And that was part of my problem. Going to church was a chore, man. It was a drag going to church. Screwed up my Sunday, kind of deal. So I missed the point of it all. And I think some of these have a real practical application that will physically, I can change the way I feel about myself or the way I'm interacting with other people if I maybe just spend a few minutes a day meditating and centering myself. Am I into something, do you think?
Yes, absolutely. I think what a lot of people, of course I was raised Catholic as well, and I think what a lot of Catholics in specific, there's so much ritual involved in Catholicism. And I think where Catholics get tripped up, where it's like, well, I have the rest of my life to live. You go on Wednesday or you go on Sunday, and for that hour, you're Catholic.
Yeah, super Catholic for that hour.
Yeah, and then most of it is presided over by a priest. You're just there to pretty much like stand, sit, sing, and nod your head. Yeah. Eat a wafer.
Occasional meal.
And then go home. You don't
sometimes it was like that,
You don't really have a personal... Your investment in it is largely ceremonial. So you go, and it's basically like a suit you put on. And then you come home and you take it off, and you're like, whew, that was tight.
Sunday best.
Yeah. And then it's you go about the rest of your life, and you're like, I didn't really have a chance to figure out how this was supposed to apply to my life. I think a lot of the times, to go back to sort of those Japan, Korea, China, Asian, those countries, they place a lot of emphasis on ritual. But they do it from a place of mindfulness. And their approach to religion is very much like, this is something that I can achieve now in this moment, in this lifetime, and it can only be done by me. We sort of remove ourselves from the process, and we say this has to be done through a priest, and the priest is connected to Creator and God. And so it's like it removes you from the process, and you don't feel connected to it. And a lot of the times, for people who were not raised in kind of a religion that incorporates personal spirituality, your own personal connection to it, you sitting down and doing the work, is we don't have any joy in doing the rituals. So we don't have a connection to it. Some people, I knew of people who really were like wowed by the Eucharist. When you pray over it and it becomes the body of Christ.
Right.
And they were like blown away by that. And I'm like,
you
did you put that in your mouth? It was a wafer.
I mean, I don't want to poo-poo it, right? Because
that's not what I'm trying to do.
It does a lot of good things for some people.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
The magic was lost on me for whatever reason. Although I tried damn hard.
Yeah.
You
did. Where was your connection to? Anytime you tried to form a connection to it, you were smacked down.
Well, you're right. I mean, I had to work through the priest and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Again, for this guy, continues to be a struggle. But I've met a lot of people in my life that have a very deep religious belief, and
but they have found their own connection
to
it.
And I see that and I sense that.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, I'm a little jealous about that. There's a couple people that come to mind. I'll keep those names to myself, but I just go, gosh, I envy, admire, probably a better term, how they've got that sorted out, and how it really helps them, and makes them a better person. It really works for them, and that's a good thing. And again, it's something that I was just like, boy, I got to get me some of that at some point in time. I got to.
Well, they made it
out,
theirs.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. Yeah. So I always felt I was close to the mark with it. Almost hit the bullseye, but something was just.
Well, here's kind of what I think about it, is Catholicism was never going to work for me. There's too much ritual, there's too much authority. I buck all authority, I do not like it. I do not like being told what to do. I never have.
You're kidding me.
Yeah. Shocking. Yeah. And so if you tell me that I can't find the answer, that I have to go through some dude who, frankly, has not verified their credentials with me, and apparently... we had a pedophile priest, and you want me to go to him and say, and so I knew this guy, and it
got pretty muddy.
And I had the chance to question him, which turned into an interrogation. I was in 4th grade or something, and I was like, so how do you connect? He's like, I hear him. I'm like, sure you do. It never made sense to me. Yeah. It makes, my cousin Judy, she deeply connects with Catholicism,
sure.
But she has her own personal connection with it. It works for her.
Right on.
She feels something when she prays. Yeah. She's like, I get this. That was never going to work for me. Yeah. It wasn't until I really went into meditation, and I was like, Buddhism is calling to me. I really like Buddhism. Mm-hmm. That seems to soothe me and my soul, and I connect to it. And what really got me was the idea that I can achieve enlightenment in this lifetime. Because it's up to you to achieve enlightenment in this lifetime. I think it's just mainly finding what's your trigger.
Yeah, well, there you go. You stole my thunder. I was going to say, I guess it's up to us all to figure out what works for us.
Yeah.
And it's going to help if you can be a centered, balanced individual.
Yeah.
Right? That's sort of is the foundation to sort of push everything forward when it's time to move forward.
You do have to take a certain amount of responsibility for your own spirituality. I think that scares a lot of people.
Yeah, that's a hell of a responsibility.
Yeah.
And there's no one to blame, right?
It helps to remove, if I can tear down any curtain, it's the idea that there is such a thing as eternal damnation. It's self-defeating. It doesn't exist. I have been searching the spiritual streets for a while now. Never have I come across a hellscape, ever, that wasn't designed by the person for a specific intention that they couldn't leave at any point in time with just a thought. I think hell is a state of mind. Depression is hell. Anxiety is hell. It's a hell. So you're more likely to experience hell while you're alive than you are when you're dead. So I think it helps to remove this idea of judgment, of I will be punished if I try and search out for my own connection to spirituality, or I'm going to hell if I try and talk to grandma after she's passed on to the other side. There's a lot of, fear's a great way to control people. Fear in healthy amounts can really motivate us.
Yeah.
But when it's sustained fear and we're not making changes to mitigate the things that are scaring us, then it's just, well.
Yeah. Oh, I get you. That's a doozy of a subject right there.
It is. We could go, especially with COVID-19.
Forever, for crying out loud. Yeah,
I think that there's no such thing as an unhelpful emotion. All of your emotions are talking to you. They're trying to convey something to you at all times. And fear is trying to tell you, this is a thing that I do not want to experience. And you have to be like, well, what's this thing that I don't want to experience? Why is it not in my highest alignment? What is it trying to tell me? And that takes some gumption. But I do think that fear is, in like appropriate amounts. It's healthy. It's telling you that you need to take a certain action, and then you have to act. You actually have to do it, or you're just going to continue to be scared.
For me, I guess fear and worry for me are very similar. Mm-hmm. Worry's a pretty good motivator. I worry about something bad happening, which is
I'm a champion.
I try not to be. I try not to be the indoor record holder for worrying, but sometimes I am. I can't
race you for it.
I just can't. I can't erase. So, do the radio thing. How are we doing on time?
We got like 18 minutes left. Do you want to talk music? Want to lighten things up a bit?
Yeah, we got to.
Yeah.
Man, we burned through the minutes here in a hurry. So.
Man, we're chatty.
Yeah. All right, folks. So music break. It's a passion for both of us, and gotta mix it up, right? It's gotta be. It's gotta be a mixed bag here. So, now you haven't been to as many as I have. I'll boast, but I'm older, so
concerts?
That's the only. Yeah,
I really haven't.
You haven't, but the handful you've been to.
Yeah.
Thus far, who's your fave?
Two,
because you've been to a few that you might have forgotten about.
So two immediately come to mind.
Okay.
The first one was seeing Lake Street Drive.
Yeah.
Lake Street Dive and Grace Potter.
Yeah. Oh, that was a great bill.
It was amazing. And then when we saw the Black Keys with the Arctic Monkeys opening for them.
Oh, I forgot about seeing the Black Keys.
That was great. The Arctic Monkeys were
I actually liked them. I didn't know
who
who they were, and they came out and did a really solid job.
Yeah.
It was bad. It was a little uneasy at that concert.
Well, what was okay?
Because I was the oldest dude there.
No, you weren't.
Oh, the hell, I wasn't.
No, you weren't.
Yeah, I felt like it, man. I'd look around. I'm like, old dude here.
There's an internal judgment. There's no way. It's such a. I guess they were big in college.
What about you too? That was
big. Florence and the Machine opened for them. Yeah.
The stage on its own, right?
That was really cool. Yeah. No lie, that was really great. That would definitely be up there. But
so
just
I saw you two at the Joshua Tree.
Oh. Didn't you also...
I was a security guy.
Yeah.
Yes. And I met...
Didn't they just pluck you out of obscurity and...
Yeah, so working out with my buddy at a gym, and some giant guy walked in. And I think he was expecting to find 40 guys working out, except it was, me and my buddy working out. Mm-hmm. And he walked right up to us and said, "Guys, I got a deal for you." Of course, we're like, "Okay, weirdo, what's your deal?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "I work for the band U2.
Sure you do.
I need help with security. And the concert's in 3 days, and the deal is it was a strange deal. It was really more like for the coolness factor of being able to say that you did that, because it was like payment was like $17. It was a crazy number, like $17. Or if you'd like to forego the money, you can keep the shirt that said staff on the back.
Ooh.
Yeah, I know, right? So that was
$17.
It was a dumb amount. It wasn't even 20. It was something under 20. Yeah. But it was just cool to be able to go down to the Pontiac Silverdome, right?
But how invested could you be in maintaining security?
Almost none.
You were paid in a T-shirt.
Almost none. I was the guy. I was the last line of defense to get you down to the lower bowl. So everyone that was in the upper bowl, right, with the not as good seats,
right?
But they not all seats are bad in the upper bowl, or the mid bowl, the middle ring, and so everyone was just doing their best to. Oh, come on, let me get by. I'm like, listen, if I drop my hands and you run by me, those 3 guys down there that are the real security guys are going to pounce on you and then throw you out.
Yeah.
I'll risk it. I'm like, okay, go ahead. I'm thinking, I'll let 1 or 2 go, because everyone needs an example. Oh, yeah, and these guys were on
strategy.
It was like blood in the water, man. They were on them like sharks. Yeah, they're gone. You know, so that did sort of calm it down. But I had to. At one point, I'm just whatever. You guys want to run down or go ahead and run down. I'm tired of I can't hold my arms up for 2.5 hours.
Right.
You know? I'm done with that. You know?
I came here to see it.
Yeah. Then I started to enjoy the concert. So that was the strangest way for me. So okay. My favorite concert, and I kind of tipped my hand on this a little bit last night. You know, recently, Mom and I went to Scottsdale at the MIM, which is a musical instrument museum. And folks, if you're in Scottsdale, you got to go to that museum. Absolutely amazing. Way more there than you think you're getting yourself into. Spotless, and it comes with a performance venue, right? So, John Popper, who is the harmonica player, lead singer for Blues Traveler, he was performing there with, I'm guessing, their keyboard player, but I really don't know.
Yeah.
So it was him singing with his lightning bolt harmonica and a keyboard player in a very intimate, small venue.
That was the best one.
It was. It was very unique. He would talk to us in between each song.
Yeah.
And it was just raw. I mean, it was him and a harmonica, and he just tore the shit out of that harmonica.
Everyone needs to understand why I'm kind of shocked, because you've been to
a lot of
many
concerts. Yeah. So, right. So the next one is probably going to be those Aerosmith concerts I went to back in the day when Aerosmith was Aerosmith.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
A big, and they were just something else. And of course, the one I told you about, the second one I went to at Pine Knob. That's right, Pine Knob, folks. It used to. Now it's called DTE, but the real name is Pine Knob.
Does he sound old yet?
Yeah, I know, but it's okay. I mean, it was such a great show, followed by an insane crowd party out in the parking lot afterwards. I mean, I couldn't. I gave up trying to get out in the parking lot because it was just. It was like I said, it was like a Civil War encampment, man. I mean, there was things going on that it just, you're like, whoa, man. I'm in the middle of this, So that was super. Billy Joel was a good concert. Yeah, that was really good. Saw Ozzy a couple times. Both those shows were great. Van Halen 2 or 3 times. I lost track of that one. And I seen them at each level of Van Halen. As they evolved, I sort of kept up with that.
Cool.
But yeah, that Aerosmith concert just really good. I mean, it was summer air, beautiful night out. The guys were in their prime. Yeah. And it was just really great. But a lot of good shows under my belt. Oh, Joe Bonamassa, Joe Boss.
Oh,
great,
Joe Boss,
great show. And the one we saw Kenny Wayne Shepherd there at Royal of Music there. Right? I mean, that was great. And the family,
thing,
Rudolph,
though.
what was the name of the band that opened? Rudolph Family Band? Is that how they say it?
So close.
Amazing.
Something in the Rudolph.
Yeah, we're right
the
there.
Well,
give or take a word or two, but great band. When they got together for the last couple songs at the end. Oh, yeah, just absolutely incredible. But
just kick-ass.
Let's not forget about Garth Brooks at Grand Ole Opry.
Oh.
Special night, right?
Yeah.
Special night with the encore. Happened twice or 3 times in the 100-year history.
It was record.
Hadn't happened in 60 years. He came out for an encore afterwards.
Yeah, it's like not allowed.
Right. Yeah.
But so it's Garth Brooks. You're at the Grand Ole Opry, and you let him play 3 songs.
That's why
everyone showed up for
Garth.
Garth.
He came back out and played 6 more.
Yeah, he did play. And I was gonna say something I completely forgot.
I jogged your
Must
memory
not have been
about
important.
Someone that you saw that you forgot.
Yeah. Oh, I was gonna say, if you're ever in Nashville, you can probably skip the Country Music Hall of Fame. But what you can do is if I go for
you've been too many
it,
times, but go once. Anyway,
I've been 8 times. Make sure you hit the Musicians Hall of Fame.
Yeah, there you go.
That is an unsung hero of the city, and that's
nice
really
move.
cool.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are right. Yeah, that is special. So, all right, good. See, I had to get the music part out of the way. So,
yeah.
But yeah, God, I wish we could go see some concerts soon. I hope we'll get back into the flow of that.
One day,
very soon. Yeah, one day sooner. The Police were a good concert. Now I think about that too.
You saw the Police in concert?
Yeah. The Synchronicity tour.
Oh.
I don't know what year that'd be. 84. Maybe. I bet you I'm pretty damn close to.
You're probably right. I don't know.
Yeah. Let's ask the phone.
You can't do it like that.
Yeah, I can ask the phone.
You
That
can't.
some bitch knows everything.
No, you have to
It's
type it
listening
in.
right now.
I want to respond to that.
Oh,
You
come
shouldn't.
on.
Yeah, sorry about that phone. Okay, I'll leave it alone. But I think it was
Thank
1984.
Okay.
And Joan Jett opened
Joan Jett.
for the Police.
Joan Jett opened for the
Joan
Police?
Jett. I thought it was an odd billing.
That is an odd billing.
Yeah, it didn't quite go.
But if you're in Detroit, you got Joan Jett. That seems like a winner.
So here's what happened, right? We're mulling around, and we had main floor seating. Maybe the I don't know, maybe 15 rows back. So we're pretty damn close.
Yeah.
And I'm like, shit, man, it's Joan Jett.
Yeah.
I had no idea she was opening. I'm like, cool.
Yeah.
But no one is paying attention to Joan Jett. At this point, there might only be maybe about 5,000 people, right? It was well before the show.
Should have been 5,000 people paying very close attention to Joan Jett.
It was plenty, right?
Yeah.
And she played maybe 2 or 3 songs, and I had to be one of maybe 15 people that were like into Joan Jett, right?
Yeah.
Paying attention and kind of
What the
bopping
heck?
along with what's going on. Yeah, and she stopped the show and basically bawled out the crowd.
What a boss bitch.
Yeah, she was, man. She was like, hey, I thought this was Detroit. I thought you guys were into rock and roll. Am I wrong? You know, and she kept after it, you know, and she's kind of angry looking to start with.
Yeah, she's calling you out.
Yeah, I mean, you know, she's got a certain snarl going on,
Yeah.
you know, and
Well, that's
looks,
rock and roll, baby.
and you put a low slung guitar on her with that outfit she always wear. I like Viking status,
Yeah.
right? I mean, she got everyone's attention.
You'll chop your head off with that axe.
And it was like a reversal of what, you know, what the vibe was, and suddenly everyone's watching Joan Jett. And I was like, nice move, man.
That's cool.
Oh, it was not, you know, just came out of her. I mean,
Yeah.
the band was ready to play the next song, and she just like threw the guitar behind her back and like grabbed the mic and walked, you know, took 4 steps forward. You know, was on the edge of the thing, and
Yeah.
I felt like, ooh, I'm in trouble.
I
What
love
did
that.
I do to Joan?
See, that's so cool. And all of that, and it's still...
Oh, gosh. That's what I love about these shows. If I sit and I think about them, all that comes back to me. It's still in there. But I make an effort to revisit those memories because I know they're not going to... They're not always going to be fresh.
I completely forgot about seeing Kenny Wayne Shepherd until you brought it up.
Yeah, that was a good one.
That
Loud
was a good
one,
one.
too.
That's the thing. If it's too loud, I can't hear the music.
That's why I like Garth so much.
Yeah.
It was a respectable level. You
Yeah.
still felt it go through you,
Yeah.
but it wasn't to the point where it was painful.
Well,
So.
sometimes they do the sound as if it's like an open air venue,
Mm-hmm.
and that would
Yeah,
make
right.
sense. But it's like, no, this is a You're in Nashville. We're very worried about acoustics. You don't need to do that.
Yeah. Put well.
Yeah.
So, how are we in time?
We have got 7 minutes left.
Okay, good. So, what do you want to talk about? I'll turn the tables, and you got a question for me or
Do I
something
have
you
a
want to bring
question
up?
for you?
See how
Do
good
you-
you are.
Yeah. How do you connect with spirituality? Has anything I told you sort of changed your perspective on things?
Yeah, but I'm more in the analytical state of it all in my head.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to make sense of it all, you know, because I have a lot of years of religious background, and which you know, a lot of those teachings I still
Value.
take to heart. Yeah, I mean, they've helped mold who I am,
Mm-hmm.
and I just have a lot of history to reflect off of with memories, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to take that into consideration with, you know, the path that you found yourself on, and me trying to catch up to speed and learn along with you. So it's sort of like, man, I feel like a guy trying to make gold out of lead. You know, there's a recipe for it, but I've got to figure out. I got to figure out this recipe, you know, and I hate to say before I die, but that's the goal.
Sure.
You know, I mean, I'd like to really, you know, nail it before, you know, before it's all said and done. I mean, so it's all very helpful, and interestingly enough, I've always had a fascination, a belief, you know, a very high curiosity in all these subjects. Not just you know, spirituality, but just paranormal in general, right? And I tend to lump all that together into one big fondue pot, you know.
Yeah.
Maybe not Bigfoot, but he's in there somewhere, you know.
I'm sure.
You know,
He's
but
gotta be.
I think a lot of these things that that go unexplained, you know, are somehow I suspect connected, and it's up to me to riddle that out.
Do you
know?
need to go at it analytically?
Sometimes I do. Yeah, but really, like I said a couple podcasts ago, we can say that now.
Yeah, we can.
Dadcasts. I feel it through sometimes.
Yeah.
I can't do the pros and cons thing. I mean that's just
it's not going to get you anywhere.
It's too clinical. For
and
me
when
to
we're
do
talking
it
about
that
your
way.
own personal spirituality, we're not doing a pro con
Right,
list.
yeah.
We're
So
talking about where you connect with it.
Yeah, I got to feel it through, right? To see, all right, am I in the right spot here? Am I feeling good about it? Am I feeling
You
bad
don't
about
necessarily
it?
have to rake yourself over the coals over it. You know.
Oh,
You can just sort of let
good
it.
at that, though.
Yeah, that's
Take
what
that
I'm
away
saying.
from me.
You don't need to. You don't need to get it all 100% exact right all at once. You can just go. Well, at this point in time, this is where I'm at, and I will allow myself to evolve.
Low 90s, still an A, right? Yeah.
It's own that.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Coming from a solid C guy, occasional B guy.
Speaking as a type A student, I understand wanting to analytically understand everything.
Yeah.
And you just can't necessarily do that, which is a hard pill to swallow. I had to choke that sucker down, but you don't necessarily need to do it that way. Mm-hmm. There are some things where you're just going to have to be like, you know what? I don't know, but I do know what I'm experiencing. I also know that I'm not crazy.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point, right?
I do know what I feel. I know me. I know what I think is right. Maybe that will evolve as I go on. Hopefully it does. Hopefully I learn.
Yeah. What is, I guess, frustrating for me with that at work. I'll pat myself in the back. I think I'm pretty good at what I do. Mm-hmm. And I typically, I don't want to say know the answer all the time, but after 30 years of doing the same thing,
yeah, I
kind of do. Or I have a pretty damn good idea where it's heading. Not all the time, but I'll put my track record up against anyone. I'll put my skill set up against anyone. Sure. So when it comes time, I consider that important, right? So I consider my spiritual journey pretty important too, and I falter on it. I don't have those answers like I do when I'm at work, right? Like no one likes to know it all. I don't want to make it sound like I'm a know-it-all because I'm far from that, but I usually operate from a position of comfortability because did I just make that word up? Comfortability? It may or may not be a word. I've got a reference point and a lot of bad decisions and some good ones to get me through the weeds
have the
rather quickly.
Yeah.
But when it comes to this, I'm like, all right, what? I'm not a 14-year-old kid trying to figure this out. I should have a lot of this under my belt by now. And when it doesn't come to me quickly, I get frustrated. And I got to remind myself to take a breath.
And I think what you do have to keep in mind is that you do, but you're maybe not framing it in a way that would be, well, this is spirituality. Mm-hmm. When we were talking about integration earlier, there is no part of life that's not spirituality. Everything is energy. There's no such thing as separation. That's an illusion that we give ourselves in order to experiment with physicality. We forget that we're energy, because we fully immerse ourselves in this experience. And so I would say if you're struggling with, you're like, I have to analyze it, you're always a spiritual being.
Yeah.
There's no point in time. So any wisdom that you have learned in life also can be applied as spiritual wisdom in some shape or form. There are, I don't want to say levels, but there are, I guess, opportunities to see things differently depending on how well you've learned something. Mm-hmm. Someone might consider it to be spiritual wisdom of relationships are hard. And it's like, well, they don't necessarily have to be hard, but they require an investment. Mm-hmm.
Sure.
You have to be invested in it. And maybe you're investing time in something that doesn't fit you, so it feels hard. But you can say, well, relationships are hard. Maybe relationships require effort. Maybe relationships require investment. Mm-hmm. You just continue to refine. But you already have a wealth of spiritual wisdom.
Yeah, I just feel like it's scattered on the floor. Like I'm still trying to line up the dominoes right.
Yeah.
So I'd imagine I am if I feel that way. But I do feel they're a little closer together than what they used to be.
Well, it's all perspective.
Yeah. Well, amen to that, right?
Yeah. Well, that's a whole other conversation.
Yes, another podcast.
Well, we've only got 16 seconds left. What now?
That's it. I think
That's it?
we're done. We've said it all.
Outro. Cut scene.
Okay. See you, folks.
Goodbye.
Good night. God bless.